Hey, also, I made a mistake this week, and I checked with Matt. I actually did the readings for next week regarding secondary characters, and so I'm just going to post that this week here, and then next week I'll circle back around and do my response on the assignment there that included the Mindy Project and girls. So secondary characters. This week we were asked to read Kville, which is a pretty cool concept for a show that I never heard of. I had to do a little bit of research on it after I read the script to see why this thing didn't take off. It's about the police force in New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina, and apparently it was all took place around the writer's strike time, so it kind of just died on the vine, which is sad because I thought it was a pretty solid show, and it kind of had the same engine of mystery regarding one of the secondary characters, I guess, that Crisis has, with ulterior life and so on. But anyway, and then also Community, which is chock full of secondary characters, I guess, that are meant to, support our main character there, who's too cool for school. But anyway, with that being said, as far as Crisis goes, in secondary characters, I actually have, especially in the drafts that I'm working on in the rewrites, there's more secondary characters than there were initially. And I think that that's important for the type of script that I'm writing, in the sense that, in order to keep the story moving forward, there has to be all these kind of technical or tentacles out there of secondary characters that are come and affect the life of the protagonist, Gordon, in my show. So if you notice, or if anyone is seen in the recent drafts, I've added a bunch of secondary characters, and even, I guess, third level characters, you would say, who don't have much to do in the pilot, but are going to have more to do as the series goes on. Secondary characters like Fitz, the airplane pilot, who's only in the one scene. Not much of an impact in the pilot at all, but he's going to be involved in other storylines. I added the character of Shadiq, who is a Middle Eastern Americanized young man who's trying to support a family, and of course, he's going to play a major role in a story arc as the first season plays out. But it's just kind of hinted at in the pilot, as well as character of Doug, who works at the electrical supply shop, and then Bowie, the newspaper reporter for the Chicago newspaper. They all don't have a hell of a lot to do in the pilot, but I'm trying to lay the groundwork and introduce them, and have callbacks to them to keep them fresh in the mind of the audience, but not to do it just on principle, but to do it so that they're you can kind of see the slow progress of where they're going along in the story. And it's hard. It's hard to do it in a pilot. It's hard to do it in one episode. Screenwriting is, as a whole, one piece, and it's kind of easier to plant a seed and then bear fruit, 30 pages in. But in a TV series like this, it takes a lot of blueprint work, I guess, for your secondary characters, and you have to have them. You can't just have a series protagonist, antagonist, and maybe, you know, a spouse or a family member. Like, it has to be deep. It has to be involved. Like in Kville, our characters, our main protagonist characters, his neighbors, who were selling their homes. It was crucial to the storyline, but they're just a little piece of the plot. So it is important to check in and create and craft realistic secondary characters, and I do plan on going through and kind of breathing more life into them as the rewrites for Crisis continues.